Hello, it's Jay here again and welcome to another lesson. In this lesson we're going to finish filling out the attack block. And we can come here and we can start exactly where we ended off in the last lesson. So now we need to input the exact conditions that the enemy and the player need to meet in order to switch to the strike block, and this is where we'll actually play the attack animation and the attack sound effect. So we'll say if open brackets, and we'll use the underscore dot angle that we created in the last lesson, this temporary float, is less than underscore FOV. I'm going to say times 0.5 this time, and we'll put the F in because it's a float. We'll close brackets, we'll open and close. So this just acts like a little bit of a buffer, and we'll put it into the comments. So we'll say if underscore angle is less than field of view. So if the angle becomes less than the enemy's field of view, we need to do something, and in this case we're going to fire a raycast to see if it can hit the player game object, and if it can, then the player's in a position where the enemy can strike the player, in which case we need to switch to this block. So we'll say raycast hit, and we'll just come back there and we'll just call it hit, and we'll close the line off. Straight into the comments, so we'll say returned info on what the raycast has hit. And we'll come here and we'll say if open brackets, in this case we'll say physics dot raycast, we'll open brackets, we'll say transform dot position, and we'll say plus vector3 dot up comma underscore player's temp position comma out hit. We'll close brackets twice, we'll open and we'll close. So we're saying if physics.raycast, so if the raycast from our transform.position plus vector3 up, so we're firing it out into a vector3 world space, and up is a shorthand of writing 0, 1, 0 in coordinates. So it's firing the raycast out towards the player's temp position, and we want to know if it's hit or not, and this will tell us. So we'll put it into the comments. So we'll say fire raycast from enemy position to player's position and return info. So it's firing the raycast to the player's temp position. Now if the player's moved, obviously the raycast won't hit it, in which case the enemy will try and rotate to find the player. But if it does hit the player game object, and we'll input that code now, we'll say if open brackets, and we'll say hit dot collider dot tag double equals little speech marks player close speech marks close brackets open and close. And as I'm sure you'll remember, we actually tagged our FPS controller as player. So if it does hit the player, then all we need to do is change the enemy state, and we'll copy this line from the impact block where we changed the enemy state. We'll paste that in, and of course we need to change this to strike, and then we'll just change the comments here, and we'll just save this off, bring the comments back into line actually here. So we fire a raycast towards the player's tent position. If the player's moved, then the enemy game object will try and rotate in order to face the player. However, if the player is in a position where the raycast hits it, so in this case hit tag of player, then we need to change the enemy state to strike, and in this block is where we'll actually play the attack animation and the attack sound effect. So with that saved off, we'll downsize mono develop and we'll test it out. So we'll hit play, and it may just take a moment. Now obviously the enemy's not going to do anything once it goes into the strike block, but we'll get the debug log. So we'll stop that there, and if we come to console, as we can see, it's cycled through all the states from idle to run to attack, and then it's gone to strike, and that's the point in which the game object throws because we have no code in strike. But this is what we'll be applying in the next lesson. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. I hope to see you next time, and until then, bye for now.